All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of a very special podcast. This is the podcast in which we talk about all of your favorite TV series from a yesteryear and then discuss them over a glass of wine. And I'm your host. Yes, I'm your host from the previous 112 to 13-ish episodes. Patrick, I'm done. And who do I have the extreme pleasure of being here with on this fine evening? The first time we've done a late evening recording in
it really has been like forever since we've done a recording at night. It's usually been early ass in the freaking morning,
or in general. I think it's been like over a month, I think, or close.
Yeah,
close
it's been
to
No, it's been like 2 weeks since we last recorded.
That is true. But you didn't say your name, or should I say your name?
Oh, I'm so used to you always saying it. I don't know how to introduce myself. Like, who am I?
Who are you?
Who am I, Patrick?
Yes, who are you? You are accomplished author, Kat Halstead, and life coach, licensed life coach.
Life coach, lead coach. I wear many hats.
Yes, but tonight she is wearing her television hat, and we are going back in time again. We always go back in time on this show. When are we not?
Yeah, I mean, mostly we do. That's what getting caddies for. The present.
Yes, and what is that thing? It's like,
and even then,
the past is the past, but the present is today, which is why it's called a gift. How does that go? How does that famous Facebook quote go?
I don't know.
It's stupid. I hate when people say it though.
I don't know. I just ate a gummy bear that was flavored birthday cake. What do I know in this world? I know nothing anymore.
You do know one thing, and that is television, because we are about to dive into it. We're about to dive into the deep end. We're going way back. But hold on. I wanted to give a special shout out to our to our podcast that is just like ours.
I mean, they're not just like ours, but it's creepy how much alike they are to us, if that makes sense. Like, in a good way, not like a creepy stalker, like, Kat needs to make a dossier on you kind of way.
Yes. What's it called? The TFGIF podcast?
Thank fucking God it's Friday.
Yes. So I want to give them a special shout out. We went back and we listened to their catalog of episodes, and I don't know, we've laughed, we cried, we laughed again, and I don't know, we enjoy it. So shout out to them. What are their names? It's a guy and a girl, and you said that the female is the me version on it, and the male is the you version. Is that what your hot goss was?
Yeah, something like that. It's Drew and Katie, I believe.
Oh yeah, okay. I forgot the names. I'm sorry. I apologize to Drew and Katie.
Yeah, and they're like, Katie's like not that much younger than us, and Drew's a bit younger. So
okay. Well, Kat has all the info. I literally don't know anything, so shout out to that. So anyway, listen to their podcast. It's called TFGIF Podcast. I think you'll like it. They cover things that we haven't quite gotten to yet, which is kind of fun.
They cover stuff we've kind of covered, but they also cover stuff we probably wouldn't cover because it's past our time.
Yeah, true. Like we always say, we'll never do sister, and they covered sister. So it's like they did it for us, so we don't have to do it.
Yeah.
But they did do. They also, like, we always talk about how we're going to go into game shows, and we have not done one yet. But they did Double Dare, so I was kind of excited about that. I was like, okay, maybe.
Yeah, they did Double Dare, Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah. So we don't have to do it then.
They did a show I'm surprised we haven't done yet, which is News Radio.
Oh yeah. You know what? It was on our radar for a while, but
News Radio is on our list. Like, News Radio is 100% on our list because it is like one of my all-time favorite TV shows ever.
Yes, but hold on. I know why we didn't do it, because we can only find the episodes in Crackle, and every time we think of it, they only have like the shitty John Lovitz episodes. And I'm like, I am not doing one of those, girl.
Okay,
nope.
Seriously, we've got to figure out how I can play a DVD on my laptop and stream it to you at the same time.
It's called Periscope or something. I don't know. Who knows? We'll figure it out one day. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out one day.
If anyone knows...
We're that weird, like, not a Gen Xer, not a millennial, so we're a little confused about technology.
Yeah, if anyone knows how to do it, tweet us at VeryPodcast and send us, like, mansplain us how to do this, and we will send you...
Yeah, mansplain it to Patrick.
Yeah, mansplain it to me, and then I will send you I'll have Kat send you a knick-knack, because according to the podcast rules, the females are always in charge of the merch.
Yeah, I don't know how the F that happened, but it did.
You know I can't handle merch. I'm not a merch man.
Obviously.
All right, so what are we doing tonight? Which classic television show are we dipping into for the first time? I think, right? We've never done the show.
We've never done this show. We have done shows that were inspired by it, that were on at the same time. But this is our first time diving into this wonderful world that we did grow up with. We grew up with it because it was in syndication and it was on Nick at Night.
And it was on like Sunday mornings before the cartoons.
We grew up with this, and anybody who like tells us we didn't grow up with it is a bunch of dirty, rotten liars. We're doing the one, the only, the greatest, Bewitched.
Yes, girl. Shout out to Bewitched. A season 1 episode. We're going way back. We're going back to the.
Yeah, we're going way back. These are not ones we saw often as children because they were not in the syndication packet because the color episodes were.
Okay, so I was going to ask you about this because I do remember every now and then when I was watching Bewitched back in the day, back on like Channel 56 or Channel 38, back in my old hometown of Boston, they would occasionally show black and white episodes. But however, hold on, I watched this on Daily Motion tonight and it was in fucking color, so I was confused.
They've been colorized since.
I kind of got that impression, but then I was like, did I just is this a Mandela effect? Like was Bewitched always in color?
Yeah, no. Like, okay, so, like, when we were kids, the black and white episodes really weren't part of the syndication project package.
Yes.
So, like, when I was growing up watching it on, like, DIX or whatever it was was just the color episodes. I didn't see the black and white first, like, couple seasons until they aired on Nick at Night when they started airing the show. And then I was, like, really confused at first because, like, there's this weird narrator in the first few episodes. It's different, but it grows, and it's, like, the most wonderful little show ever.
Yeah, I think, like, I remember seeing the first episode, and I remember the narrator, and they're in a different house. It looks like a different neighborhood. Everything's different.
Yeah.
No one's developed yet. Like, all the quirks aren't there.
I mean, it's also a pilot, and that happens in pilots all the time.
Yeah, we've gone over that. The Dick Van Dyke Show, like, was something completely different, like, in its original ep, like, that never aired, but except it's, like, on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. What's it called, like, Man of the House or something? Man of the Town?
Yeah, something like that.
Man of the Night?
I've watched it, and it's really weird and awkward.
Man with a Plan. I don't know. It's not even Dick Van Dyke, isn't it? Carl Reiner?
No, it's Carl Reiner. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Not Petrie. Petrie.
Yeah, Petrie, like the dish. Think of the dish, the old science dish where we can like put like a tooth on. You like when one of your teeth fall out, you put it in a little petri dish and you put some Coca-Cola in there and you watch it dissolve. Did you ever
what the F did you do as a kid? Like, I never did that.
You never did that? You never did that as like your science experiment?
No.
See how bad soda is for you? And then when your baby tooth fell out, you just put it on like a little like cup and then you like poured Coca-Cola in it. And like 2 days later, it was gone. Like your tooth dissolved. But like, you know what though? You know what? Fuck science, because it's not like you just leave Coca-Cola in your mouth at all times. So
yeah.
Science can lick it. Science can lick my left one. That's all I have to say about that. That's all I have to say about that. So I apologize. I love science. Shout out to science. Sorry to offend any scientists out there. I don't want to get the scientist smackdown.
Make sure you address those tweets to Patrick at Very Podcast.
Yes. I'll add my little indicator that you know it's me, Dash Patrick. All right. So,
sometimes it's just like Dash Cat, and then sometimes we both leave it off and you don't know who's tweeting.
You know it's me if everything's in lowercase letters or capital letters or if things are misspelled. You know it's Kat of like the very serious tweets. She's a very serious twatter over there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'm not sassy and snarky?
I think you are on your own, but I think when you like... For some reason, I feel like when you're doing the AVSP Twitter, like you feel like you're in charge of a brand, like an actual corporation.
I am in charge of a brand, you dork.
No, but I mean, I feel like it's like you feel like that, like we're a very respectable brand. We're like Johnson and Johnson or something. And really,
he says this to me as I'm sitting here drinking wine out of a solo cup.
I didn't say you were classy. I didn't say you were classy. I just said like you treat our Twitter account like it's like a respectable brand.
Hashtag classy.
Oh yeah. All right. So do you have, before we get into the wacky world of Bewitched, do you have any like fun Bewitched facts? Like, because you said you were up all night last night doing some hot research into this world.
Oh, what is wrong with me? I have obviously lost my mind with all the work I've been doing.
She was in the library.
Yes, I stayed up all night the night before and did my research. Okay, this episode that we're doing is the first one where we have a Samantha double. It is not who we get to know very well later in the series.
No.
It's actually Endora, but this is also kind of the inspiration for Serena, and Elizabeth Montgomery used her cousin Panda's personality as the inspiration for the double's personality. And then
her cousin Panda?
Yeah, her cousin Panda.
She has a cousin named Panda?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Hold on. If I can insert that that record scratch sound right now, because Panda. Her cousin's name is Panda. I need to know more about Panda. Like, do we have like a pic of Panda?
That's all I got. It's probably like a family nickname or something.
Can you Google image Panda Montgomery? Is that her last name?
No.
Does she have like a different last name?
Who knows?
Is she adopted?
No, you're making it sound like it was an actual like freaking panda bear.
Is it an imaginary cousin? Like, what is this? I need to know more.
No.
All right. Is there like a...
Patrick, use your imagination.
Is there a Elizabeth Montgomery? Oh, you know what? I think there's actually... I did some hot Google research too. And I found out about Elizabeth Montgomery's like scandalous sex life in the 60s. She was linked with Elvis.
Oh, really?
Linked to Elvis at one point in time.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I don't know. She just had a wild time in the 60s. So shout out to her. We're not slut shaming her.
Well, I mean, she was married to
Oh yeah.
the man who created the show.
Yeah.
But then they like got divorced like during the run of the show.
William Asher, was that his name?
Yeah, and then the new dress that she's like getting fitted for is actually a dress she's worn 3 times previously in the series.
Yeah, I did read that. I think were you on the IMDb page too?
Yeah, probably. I have
that was where Kat did her hot research.
That's where I do my hot research. You busted me.
Yeah, she.
I have this from the book What Was Hot. Bewitched was nothing more than a television update of the old movie I Married a Witch, but it was constantly funny from the first moment it was on the air, at least for the first few years. Elizabeth Montgomery was the sorceress, married to a mere mortal played by Dick York. Agnes Moorehead was the conniving Endora. If anyone knew how to upstage a scene, it was this wonderful veteran actress.
Hold on. Can we do like a little Endora corner right now?
Endora!
So insert poofy smoke sound effect. We're going to enter an Endora corner right now. So, all right. Growing up when I was watching the show, I always hated Endora. I just thought she was a bitch. I just thought she
Really?
ruined the fun of the show. I don't know. There was I just did not like her. But I think having not seen the show in maybe like 10 or 15 years, now that I'm a grown-ass adult, I watched this today, like literally an hour ago. And I was like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I totally get Endora now. Like, I understand why she does not like Darrin, because, you know what? Like, why would you like that? Like, I always liked Darrin, but I don't know. Like, I watched this tonight and I was like, maybe I don't like Darrin.
Darrin's kind of a wet blanket.
Yeah, at least in this episode. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to go back and watch.
I watched like another episode because I rewatched this episode and it autoplayed an episode after it because my nephew was on my lap, so I couldn't really like stop it. And he was a total wet blanket.
But you couldn't stop it and throw on a true crime doc? You didn't have enough time to, like, switch over to the staircase?
No, I didn't. I couldn't even get the kid to stop. But he was the one playing the slots on my phone. So, God, I sound so classy today.
Do we get a retribution for Darrin? Does Darrin get, like a comeback story in the next ep?
No.
Is he the comeback kid? Or is he still a wet blanket? It's like a wet noodle.
He is just like this, okay, here's the thing about Darrin. He doesn't want Samantha to use magic.
Yeah.
So, like, and she's like, okay, I'll live in the mortal world. But, like, then she has to do all the mortal chores. Like, hello? At least the Major let Jeannie use her magic to do chores.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what? Darrin's at work all day, fucking, I don't know.
Like, how does he know that Samantha didn't just, like, wiggle her nose and run the vacuum cleaner that way? Like, come on.
Yeah, I know, hold on.
Then again, when you've got Mrs. Kravitz across the street, I wouldn't risk it.
Yes, and I have a hot take on that. That'll be on Kravitz Corner, but that's coming up soon. But all right. Still semi in Endora Corner, but I do have a burning question about the show.
Yes.
When Samantha wiggles her nose and it makes that noise, is that just like an added effect for the audience, or does people in the would Darrin hear her make that noise?
I don't know, but he doesn't react to the noise. And nobody else does.
Yeah, so is it just like a cheeky thing for us? It's like us hearing Garfield
I think
talk?
it's like a cheeky thing for us. Because, yeah, nobody in world reacts to that noise. You would think after some point Larry Tate would be like, what the F is this damn noise I keep hearing? Before something weird happens.
He's like, Darrin, why is it that whenever I'm around your wife, and I don't know, she like, her nose is always itchy, and there's this weird little like, it sounds like a cartoon character running. It sounds like Tom and Jerry running. Little sound effect.
Like, something is just not right here. What is it?
Yeah. Why is like keys always floating in your house, or like a drink cup, like a mug floating to my hand? What is this tomfoolery that always happens in your house?
Why am I always like worried that the client is not going to have a good time here? And why are they always going to Samantha and Darrin's for dinner with the client?
Yeah, like like why is their house like the source of business meetings?
I have so many questions about the 60s via this show.
Why is this neighborhood the center of attention? I get like you know what? Like they have a nice house. I do enjoy their house, but I go to a conference center or something. Go down to like the local like Hilton hotel. Go to the business center, like in the back room, and I don't know, have your client there. Maybe have like a hot coffee maker there and some servants, some sexy servants.
You take them to a nice restaurant. You make sure you order takeout to bring to the wife. I don't know. Like, I thought, like, growing up that there were going to be way more dinner parties in my future. They were always having dinner parties.
Oh, and like in the episode that we watched tonight, season 1, episode 24, which is which, there is a dinner party. Like, so yeah.
Like, there's always, like, a friend coming into town. There's always, like, a new client they have to host.
Yeah, and like Darrin has this revolving door of friends that like has never met Samantha.
Yeah, like, okay, can we talk about that?
All right.
Like, he has all these friends that have never met the woman he married. Like, I know this is like a pre-Facebook world and all. Was nobody at their wedding? Did they just run off and get married by the justice of the peace? Because that's what it seems like.
Or like maybe there was like a coven wedding. Like maybe it was in the woods. Like
no, it wasn't, because like he didn't know she's a witch until after they got married.
Oh yeah, he finds out after the fact. Okay. Do you think they got married in a Catholic church? Like,
no.
No. Do you think
No, I didn't think his parents were there.
Okay, so what nationality is? I mean, religion. Like what religion?
Darrin Stevens, religion. He's probably a Protestant.
Protestant. It's like I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm not a man of faith. So, what is a Protestant wedding like?
Been to quite a few. They're just weddings. They're just church weddings. They're not anything like ridiculous or anything. They're not that different than a Catholic wedding.
Okay, so like I didn't know if there was any like special rituals or anything.
Like, no, there's still gonna be like this basic same thing. They're just, maybe the service isn't quite as long.
Okay, because I did go to an Armenian wedding one time, and I swear to God, it was like 4 hours long. Like the ceremony it was from 4 to 8 p.m. and that was the fucking ceremony. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know what I witnessed, but it just went on and on and on. There was like an intermission. There was like a pee break.
Oh my God.
There was a lot of singing, a lot of swaying of the hips. Hips don't lie.
No, it's just like your basic wedding.
Okay.
That's all it is. You've probably been to them and you don't even know it.
All right, so we're probably in a time where I guess cross-faith marriages weren't, like, they were uncommon.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Samantha is not a Protestant or a Catholic, so you think she just kind of pretended to Darrin that she was of his faith?
Yeah, she had to have. And the whole thing's just crazy. I don't even know what I'm thinking anymore. Like, they're on the honeymoon. She's like, oh, hey, by the way, babe, I'm a witch.
Yeah. Your faith, your Protestant faith, it's a joke to me because I believe in magic. I can wiggle my nose and...
I don't need to believe in magic. I am magic, bitch. Boom! Samantha's the biggest badass ever.
I'm gonna live forever. You're gonna meet my mom, who's like dirty 1,030 years old right now, and she can literally just show up whenever the fuck she wants. Like, she doesn't have to knock on the door. She'll just come in like a cloud of purple smoke.
Yeah, it's gonna be like freaking awesome. Don't worry.
Yeah. Don't freak out. Don't freak out.
Just wait till you meet the rest of my family, and of course, the family physician, Dr. Bombay.
Yeah. And I'm gonna have a double at some point, multiple doubles. I'm gonna be cloned.
Yeah,
maybe?
There's gonna be multiple people who look exactly like me.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a wild ride, Darrin Stevens.
And you will always be fooled.
But before we get there, Darrin Stevens, do you want to know what was on this night, March 11th, 1965, when this episode aired?
So curious about this.
All right.
Tell me what was going on. I want to know what else we would have been watching.
Get ready for one hot night of television. It's March. March Madness is in full effect. It's 1965. Who's president? LBJ at this point in time? Is it maybe?
LBJ is president.
All right, it's an LBJ America. He's making America the original great, the original OG greatness. And well, actually, he didn't make it. It was just always great. It was just great for many years.
Yeah.
But he did have to take the day off though. LBJ, he wanted to take the day off. Him and Lady Bird Johnson, they wanted to go watch TV. So this is what the Johnsons were watching tonight.
Yes.
ABC, you ready to start things off with the OG alphabet, 1965 style?
Yes, let's hear about ABC in 1965.
All right, get ready for a hot night of television with The Stones, aka The Donna Reed Show, starring Donna Reed as Donna Stone and Carl Betts as Dr. Yes, Dr. Alex Stone. OOGA. We've totally done the show before.
Yes, so, we love that show.
So hop back in the way, way, way back machine to episode 76, OOGA, in which Dr. Alex Stone grows a mustache, much to the dismay of pretty much the entire family. It was a fun ep.
Because it's so random and weird.
Yeah, go back and listen to that one. Are you ready for ABC 8:30?
Yeah, hit me with it.
All right, get ready for a little show called My Three Sons.
Okay. Ooh. I've watched that on the Nick at Night.
Yes, this show ran for like a million years between 1960 and 1972. And the show starred Fred McMurray as the dad of three sons. Yeah, so he was the dad of three sons. But you want to hear a hot scoop, though. You want to hear a hot My Three Sons scoop.
Always.
In September 1965, the eldest son, Mike, married, and his character was written out of the show. And to keep the emphasis on three sons, the original youngest son, Chip's friend Ernie, was adopted. And then, in the program's later years, Stephen Douglas remarried and adopted his new wife's young daughter, Dorothy. So, yowza. So I guess the show was breaking new ground. I guess it wasn't just My Three Sons. It's My Three Sons and my stepdaughter now.
2 adopted kids.
Yeah. Well, 2 adopted kids because they had to write up Mike. He never came back. He got married, went to Vegas, maybe became a lounge singer. Who knows?
Probably.
All right. Are you ready for ABC 9 p.m.?
Yeah, what was on at 9?
The show we're doing tonight, Bewitched. So we'll see you in a hot minute, girl.
Okay.
All right. So sit on your broomstick, Samantha. Float through the skyline. Where does Bewitched live? Do they live in New York City?
They live in like a suburb of New York.
Yeah, I feel like the 1960s sitcoms were like very New York-y.
So they live in like a suburb of New York because Darrin like works in New York because he works on Madison Avenue.
Do you think they live in the same neighborhood as the Drapers?
No.
They don't live in Ossining or whatever it's called?
No, because if they did, let's be real, Mrs. Kravitz wouldn't give a damn about what's going on at the Stevens house. She'd be all up in what what's-her-face was doing. Betty Draper.
Oh, yeah, because like Betty Draper's out like smoking butts in the front yard, holding her wine glass, like shooting at pigeons.
Exactly. Who cares about the woman who like, there's just something not right?
Yeah, you got Betty's daughter Sally driving a car around the neighborhood, who's like 8 years old. But you know what? Do you think that Don Draper would have been all up in Samantha's shit? Do you think he would have been trying to like finger bang her and stuff, like in the neighborhood?
Oh yeah, he'd be like that guy at the block party picnic or whatever who just like was a little too fresh, and then Samantha would have been like one little twitch of her nose and he would have learned his lesson.
Oh yeah, well I could picture like as soon as like Don Draper knows that there's like a nose wiggle, he'd probably like pull his pants down, sit on Samantha's face, and be like, "All right, Samantha, wiggle your nose, wiggle your nose, and tickle my bottom."
And she'd be like, "Bitch,
tickle my bottom.
Take this," and blast him off onto Mars.
Yeah, and he'd wake up and I don't know, have like 2 heads or something. Who knows? Who knows? All right, Are you ready for the Tiffany Network? Are you ready for CBS?
Yes. What was on CBS?
All right. Perry Mason. Have you ever heard of this show?
Yeah.
Starring Raymond Burr as a hotshot defense attorney who defends dozens of falsely accused people over the years. And hold on, I didn't know this, but apparently Perry Mason has never lost a case. He's won every single case.
No, he never loses a case.
Yeah, so you do you, boy.
Those movies, like they started doing TV movies in like the 80s and 90s.
Until Raymond Burr died. Like he died in like 94, and I think he was I think like he literally was like dying, like he was in the hospital, and they were like, hold on, do you think we can like squirt one more Perry Mason movie out of you? And he's like, I guess so. I mean, it must have been like Perry Mason like defending somebody from like the hospital bed. It's like Christmas casting her vote on Big Brother from the bed.
Like, dude, I remember There's like one from like 93 where it's got like a bunch of soap opera actors in it because it takes place on a soap opera set.
Oh.
So they cast like Jeannie Francis, Sean Cannon, Stuart Damon, Linda Dano.
Ooh, Linda Dano.
Like all these hot names from soaps back in the day, and for a murder case, yeah.
Oh, was it? Was it like a real life murder affects like the set of a soap opera? So it's like a kind of like a weird play on that.
Yeah, like or an attempted murder or something, like with poisoned lipstick.
Ooh, so I like that.
Yeah.
Are you ready for what was following Perry Mason?
Yeah, what was after Perry Mason?
All right, following Perry Mason was America's favorite game show of the time, Password. You familiar with Password?
Sort of.
Okay, so anyone who's not, and for Cat Halstead, 2 contestants, each team with a celebrity partner. Yes, they compete in a word association game. One player tries to guess a word based on clues offered by his or her partner. The game is timed, and if the clue giver inadvertently says part of the word, a buzzer sounds, and that round is lost. Then when the time is up, the team with the most points wins, and the non-celebrity contestants win cash. And I just imagine it's just like regular people get to hang out with drunk celebrities. That's just all I imagine.
Wasn't like Betty White always on it?
Yeah, like you always had like I could picture like them calling up like Dean Martin and being like, "Hey, do you want to come on like Password?" And he just shows up with like 5 martini glasses in his hand. I don't know how that's possible, but I'm sure he found a way out how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like I think everybody who's anybody in the 60s, 70s, and 70s, and I think this even went on to like I think even they did like an 80s version. I think. I feel like it had like a revival at one point in time.
Probably.
I'm sure.
Well, I feel like Betty White was always down to like do a game show and have some fun.
That girl will do anything. She literally hosted Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
She did Hot in Cleveland, for God's sakes. Like she'll do whatever's thrown her way.
I loved Hot in Cleveland. That was so much fun.
It was fun, but it's like, you know, like she could have retired by this point in time and just like sat around and counted her Golden Girls money and maybe her like Password money. But no, she wanted to be out there.
You know, those like every few so often she gets the random royalty check for Golden Palace.
Oh yeah. And then like that she had that weird like blooper show too.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot about that. All right. Are you ready for CBS 9:30?
Yeah. What was on after Password?
All right. Are you familiar with a show called The Baileys of Balboa?
What?
The Baileys of Balboa.
What kind of Keeping Up with Kardashians kind of trash is this?
I don't know. It was canceled after 1 season, so let's move on. This is exciting. Are you ready for this show?
I don't think I can be ready, but give it to me.
All right. Are you familiar with The Defenders on CBS, 10 p.m. Thursday nights? The Defenders.
Wasn't that like the title of a show starring Jerry O'Connell and Jim Belushi like a few years ago?
I think so. And also a show starring Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, and that other guy. But originally, The Defenders starred E.G. Marshall and America's Dad, Robert Reed, of Brady Bunch fame, as a father and son defense attorneys who specialize in illegally complex cases.
Huh.
And this was a huge deal. This was the first show to bring on such heavy topics such as neo-Nazis, conscientious objectors, demonstrators of the civil rights movement, a school teacher fired for being an atheist, OOGA, and an author accused of pornography.
Wow.
So this was like a wild times in 1965, apparently.
Apparently, wow. That's like groundbreaking stuff right there.
Yes, groundbreaking stuff. All right, are you ready for NBC? Are you ready for the Peacock? And then we'll dip back into the world of Bewitched.
Yeah, hit me with the Peacock. What was the Peacock strutting around with that night?
All right. So things started off at 8 p.m. with our favorite frontiersman, Daniel Boone. Do you know Daniel Boone?
Killed him bear when he was only 3. No, that's Davy Crockett.
Yep. But it does star Fess Parker.
Daniel Boone, King of the Wild Frontiers. That's the Davy Crockett.
Yeah. So, hot scoop. Daniel Boone starred Fess Parker, who played Daniel Boone, but Fess Parker was also in Davy Crockett. I couldn't think of his name for some reason. I was like, you just said it. I was like,
I'm like, I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah, so I have seen this like a few times. I think it was on like on demand a few years ago, and I watched one episode, and it was literally me just going, why the fuck am I watching this right now? Like, what?
Yeah.
But that's Daniel Boone. All right. And are you ready to end the night? Are you ready to end the night on a high? We're going to end the night on a major, major high.
Mm-hmm.
Not really, but I just thought this show, I've never seen this, but it sounds kind of fun. Are you familiar with a show called Dr. Kildare?
No, I'm not. But please tell me more. Tell me more.
All right, so Dr. Kildare. It originally was a MGM film series in the late 30s, early 40s.
Okay.
And then in the 60s, it evolved into a television series starring Richard Chamberlain as Dr. James Kildare. And he worked at a fictional large metropolitan hospital. And I guess he was like a newer-ish doctor, so he's trying to like learn the profession. And then he has to like win the respect of the senior doctor. So it sounds very Scrubs-ish in a way. But hold on. Are you ready for some hot scoops?
Okay.
Episodes frequently highlighted diseases or medical conditions that have not been widely discussed on television, such as drug addiction, sickle cell anemia, epilepsy, and they even wrote an episode about venereal disease. And this was personally requested by LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson, but the network objected to it completely, and they just like scrapped the episode.
Wow.
Do you think that LBJ like caught a little STD, and was like, hold on, like we need to make like awareness about like the clap or something?
Or maybe he just wanted to have a very special episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was like, you heard it here first. Lyndon B. Johnson, our former president, invented the very special episodes.
Boom, mic drop.
Yes. And that was that night.
You're
of
welcome,
television.
America.
You're welcome. Make America learn about heavy issues again via television.
So now time to dive in to Bewitched.
We should get that on a hat. We should get that printed on a red hat. You can buy it off our website, a very special podcast.com. But all right, are you ready? Are you ready to go into Bewitched?
You know I am. Except when I have wine in my mouth and I can't speak.
So since you're such an expert on this series, I think you should take us into the world of Samantha and her family, her kinship, her kinfolk.
Basically, Samantha, her husband, and her mom.
Yeah, all right. So
at this point.
How do things begin? How does this like hot episode start?
Okay, so we just start with like Samantha's at home, getting ready to go out, and she realizes she doesn't have her keys. So since Darrin isn't home, she just like kind of wiggles her nose and the keys float to her.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, at the end of the day, Samantha's not fucking stupid.
Yes.
If she can use a little magic here and there to make things take a little less time, she will do it. Because why the hell not?
And you know what? I have a question on that too.
Yes.
This kind of goes into like the magic behind the show. So, all right. So let's say Samantha's at home. She's just doing like her hair, her nails, her makeup, and she's like, "Oh shit, I'm supposed to go meet my mom at Dollar Day at the department store." And she's about to walk out the door. She realizes she's forgotten her keys, and she wiggles her nose.
Mm-hmm.
Does she have to know where the keys are, or like can she just will the keys to her, and they'll just come?
I think she can just will the keys to her.
Like, do you think she just she envisions the keys? She knows what they look like, and her magic powers like find the keys and then bring them to her?
I feel like she could just like snap her fingers and the keys would just be in her hand.
Or she can like invent a key, like if it really is truly.
Yeah, she could probably just like 25 sets of keys around that house.
Like strategically placed around the house, like so, like whatever room she's in, it just comes to her.
Exactly.
The closest one. So I know I was just kind of like wondering, like I didn't like wonder if like Samantha had to know that like the keys were on the kitchen table and she has to like envision the kitchen table. And then the keys on top of it, and then it knows to come to her. So I don't know. Food for thought, Kat Halstead. Food for thought.
Food for thought.
If anyone if anyone can explain that to me, feel free to tweet us at Very Podcast and mansplain us the magic of Samantha.
Mansplain it to Patrick. Don't mansplain it to me because
she don't care.
I do not forgive you for mansplaining.
Yes.
Because trust me, I've got a coworker who tried to mansplain something to me the other day, and I was like, "Bitch, I'm your boss."
You know what? You should get like a sign like Cat rules, and like rule number 1, don't mansplain. Rule number 2, don't be late.
Rule number 3, transfer properly. Don't be a fucking idiot.
Ooh, Cat's getting a little work catty now. All right. So what happens after Samantha magically wills the keys into her hands? Tell us. Take us away, Kat Halstead.
So she's like about to walk out, and Endora pops in with her purple smoke. Woo!
Yes. So shout out to the purple smoke. It's the stuff that Prince can only dream of. so
like GD was totally like jealous of the purple smoke, so she had to have her pink smoke.
Yeah. So hold on. So we kind of get into commerce right here. We're getting into like commerce corner. So Endora reveals she can basically just create clothes with her mind. So shopping is basically a waste of time. And Samantha proclaims that, she just likes to go through the whole hassle of shopping and spending money. She enjoys spending money that her husband makes.
Oh, I mean, if she like showed up in like the stuff she probably would like to wear, Darrin would throw a fit because it's not the mortal way.
But how would Darrin know, like that she didn't buy the clothes?
Because he's a fucking idiot. I don't know. Because let's be real. At the end of the day, Samantha's probably in charge of all the finances. He probably doesn't even know how much he freaking makes. Let's be real.
I know, like a part of me was thinking, like, why doesn't Samantha just make the dress and then just like throw this money into like her own private bank account and just tell Darrin that she spent the money, and then I don't know, she has this little like nest egg that she can just sit on and then pass off to Tabitha, her future daughter.
Tabitha and Adam later on.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Adam. Shout out to Adam.
Everybody forgets about him because he shows up like in like way later seasons.
The ones that like also don't get played in the syndication rotation too much.
Yeah, the ones you really don't see very often.
Yeah, like this little boy will just show up and you're like, who's this again?
Like, what the hell?
This is like when you watch...
Why is there like this different Darrin and like weird little boy hanging around?
This is like when you watch a first season episode of Family Matters and Urkel's not in it and there's like a weird little girl or boy or whoever is the character they replace. Yeah. It's a little girl, right?
Judy.
Yeah, Judy, that's her name. We literally just said it in a few eps back and I already forgot.
Yeah, but that was like 3 months ago that we recorded that.
All right. So, Endora basically money shames Samantha.
Yeah.
But Samantha is very diligent. She wants to give into the basically just give into the economy. She wants to fuel the economy with her disposable income and just make America remain steady again.
Yeah, she just wants to be like a normal wife.
Yes.
And you know what? She might as well go do this stuff while she can before she like becomes best friends with Larry's wife, so that she knows what she's doing when she's going out with Larry's wife.
Yeah. She has to kind of like train herself to act like a mere mortal. She has to like practice because she doesn't want to like be out there and like do weird things and like say the wrong thing or
exactly. Like she's the one day at the dress shop with what's her face, Mrs. Tate, whose name I can't remember right now. And then be like, oh, wait, that's how you do that? And then be like, wait, how do you not know how to do this?
Yeah, how do you write a check?
You know what I mean? Exactly.
You do what with a check? Show me again.
How do these work? Yeah.
All right, so we then usher over to probably one of like 3 of my favorite scenes of this whole episode. So we're in the department store. Mm-hmm. It's some like fire sale where everything's like super cheap. And it's one of those it kind of reminds me of like one of those like Bride Wars or like Say Yes to the Dress episode like type shows where it's just like,
okay, I have never in my life been in a sale that is as crazy as they make it seem on TV.
Hold on.
Like ever.
We're going to describe what happened and then I will tell you about something that happens or it used to happen once a year in Massachusetts until the store closed. So we basically we're in like the television version of a department store, which is really just like a small closet. It looks like we've talked about this before.
Yeah, it's just like a small closet with like 3 racks of clothes.
So anytime for some reason from 1960 to approximately like whenever like 90210 came on, television just cannot get like clothing stores right. For some reason it's always this like
they still can barely do it, let's be real.
I know, but I feel like they got like a little bit better. Like I feel like they actually now go into stores and not just like create a set. So we're in like this dimly lit room, very very dark, very dreary, small, and they have like 3 racks and there's not enough space in between the racks, so like it's literally just inches. And they stuffed probably like 12 to 13 extras into this like tiny space.
Yeah.
And you just see all these people like rushing and grabbing dresses off these shelves. And there's just too many people going on. There's like things falling all over the place. It's absolute mayhem. And all right, so there used to be this store in Boston. It was called Filene's Basement. And every year, I think it was like around like maybe a month or 2 before like prom season, they would have this like flash dress sale. And basically every teenage girl in Massachusetts flocked to the store. There was probably like thousands of people. I've never been, but I've heard about it. But there's just thousands of like teenage girls running around this department store, like grabbing dresses, trying them on. Like not even, you can't even get to the dress room. So they're just like, they would wear their like bathing suit bikinis underneath and just like try the dresses on like in the store. So that's basically the scene.
Okay.
And so Samantha, I guess, is like eyeballing this like one particular dress, but she can't quite get to it.
Yeah, she can't, like, she can see, like, the color. None of these dresses, like, stand out. Like, they're all kind of just, like, basic 1960s housewife dresses.
Yeah, like the one, it might be like a nighttime dress that Samantha would wear around the house, but it didn't really quite look like one that she would wear out to like the jug room or the diamond slipper.
Yeah, they're like, they were just dresses. They were just like, okay, that works. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you just kind of had like one style of dresses back in the day. You didn't have like as many fashion options as you do now, but maybe I'm wrong.
So I feel like the stylist or like the wardrobe person in charge of wardrobe for this episode was probably like, all right, like Nancy, let's say her name's Nancy. Nancy, we need you to run over to like the wardrobe closet. Just get as many dresses as you can. Don't worry about like any kind of like styles or anything. Just throw them all in these racks. We just need to fill the room.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, she went over to like the old lady wardrobe closet and just grabbed all of them and just threw them in this fake department store room. And there's mayhem, and then Endora kind of feels bad for Samantha in a way because she doesn't want Samantha to not get this dress, so she changes the price of one of the racks like nearby. She changed it from a third off. It was the third off sale, and she changed it to 90% off, and everybody runs over to this like imaginary section to look at these dresses that are 90% off. And then I started thinking about like what happened after this. He probably had all these like people grab all these dresses and go up to the cash register expecting to get 90% off, and there's probably a lot of like can I talk to your manager moments.
Probably, like, or like she actually did change the price. I don't know. But you have Samantha finally gets the dress and Mrs. Kravitz shows up. Okay, can I just tell you, I refuse to believe Mrs. Kravitz and Samantha are going to be looking at the same dress.
Yeah, so she shows up, and Samantha mentions that she's shopping with her mom. So hold on, we find out like in a few moments that Endora and Mrs. Kravitz, at least as of this moment, have never met. Do they ever meet?
Yeah, eventually.
Like how does it go? Like who?
I don't know. But wouldn't you keep your crazy weird relatives away from your weird nosy neighbor as long as possible?
I think I would, but because it's just like I feel like Endora is like a hard person to explain. Like you.
Yeah, like. This is my mother. She just kind of pops in and out whenever she wants.
Yeah, she's very, like, Mrs. Roper-ish.
Yeah.
Has, like, weird eye makeup. Kind of a bitch.
She's got a style all her own.
Yeah, like, her fashion is very, like, ancient Greece.
She's just very flowy. I may or may not wear a few things that are very Endora-like these days.
10 years from now, I may inspire Stevie Nicks. May or may not. You'll hear about her one day.
So, yeah.
So what happens next? What happens next in this hot episode?
So, Samantha realizes that she has to be at two places at once, and she can't be both. So, Endora suggests, let me, pretend to be you, snap my fingers and wiggle my nose or whatever, and I will look exactly like you. I will have the same measurements as you, and I will go to your dress fitting, and you can go buy whatever it is you need to buy at the market.
Yes, I guess she has to go get like a roast or something for Darrin, because Darrin is requesting a roast.
Or like pork chops or something.
Oh yeah, chops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how, she just has to be like submissive, and it's like, oh, Darrin wants chops, so I have to go to the market and get Darrin chops.
Yeah.
Endora transforms into Samantha, and I like how she's like a carbon copy of her, but she can't like mimic her voice. She still has like Endora voice.
Yeah, they can't make the voice match, so there's like this haughty tone, drawl too.
It sounds like it doesn't quite sound like Endora. It sounds kind of like a muffled version of her voice.
Yeah.
Very, very strange, but it works. And you know what?
It is very much the voice you will hear for Serena later on.
Yes. So what I did like about this, though, is I kind of liked how we got a different acting style from Elizabeth Montgomery. Like it seemed like she had like fun with it. Like she owned it. So, like I enjoyed fake Samantha more than I enjoyed like real Samantha.
Well, like fake Samantha's always a little more fun, no matter who,
Yeah, whether it's Serena or Endora. Mm-hmm. Endora goes upstairs because I guess she's gonna go get the dress fitted, and she just happens to be walking by a book signing. A gentleman by the name of Bob Fraser who is writing a book about Helen of Troy, like a fictionalized account of her life, I gathered.
This is like the longest freaking book signing ever, by the way.
It goes on for days.
Yeah, like it goes on for days. Like a book signing is like a couple hours and then they bounce.
Do you think that Mr. Fraser had like a specific like contract with this department store?
Yeah, probably.
Or it's just like, you know what, maybe he's just a local author and like, this is the only place that'll have him, and he's like, you know what, I might as well just stay here for a week.
He can't be that local if Darrin and him haven't hung out for a while.
Well, like maybe Mr. Fraser stayed in the city and Darrin moved to the suburbs, and he just doesn't make that trip all that often. He's like, you know what, I don't really want to go to the suburbs. I'm kind of like a man whore. I just want to just schmooze with all these like hot broads of New York City. I don't have time for this suburban life. I don't have time to sit down dinner with my old buddy Darrin, who I haven't seen in 10 years.
Yeah, even though we only work a couple blocks from each other.
Yeah, but I do know his work extension that I can just call him from this random payphone that just happens to be right there.
Like, this is just one of Darrin's many random buddies. He must be in like a fraternity or something.
Yeah, like one of his bros. His bro before he had his hoe.
Like, he met Samantha and he dropped all the guys.
So, all right.
Stopped going to poker night. Now he only really hangs out with Larry Tate.
Yeah, and it's just someone he works with, so it doesn't really count, I guess. All right, so this is kind of cool. So like we kind of get like a sultry fake Samantha is upstairs at the book sign-in. Mm-hmm. Bob Fraser just happens to like bump into her and is like flirty with her. She's reciprocating the Phalans. Who notices it? But Mrs. Kravitz like appears out of nowhere, and she's just like oh, she bumps into this and is like, oh, like I'm so glad. Oh wait, hold on, we skipped over a very important part. Sorry, there's one part we skipped over. So before Mr. Fraser bumps into Samantha bumps into like an older gentleman who I guess is Mr. Fraser's dad. They kind of implied.
Really, I don't think I got that part.
Yeah, so Samantha gets like approached by this really a really elderly man, and that's who Mrs. Kravitz witnesses Samantha being like almost assaulted by this man.
Hit on by, yeah.
Sultry Samantha handles the situation very well, and Mrs. Kravitz like comments, "Oh, like I like the way that you handled that situation, Samantha."
Yeah.
Like, wow, like way to stick it to him and like show who's in charge. And Sultry Samantha like literally has no idea who this bitch is, and she's like, "What?"
Like, no idea who this like nosy lady is.
Yeah, she's like, "Who is this bitch?" And like, "Why does she know my name?"
Yeah.
So through like context clues, she ends up realizing that it's Samantha's neighbor. So she's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's when Mr. Fraser, the author, approaches Sultry Samantha, and they make dinner plans. Like they make plans to go out that night and like have like a wild time.
They have like the great date.
And we get this is, like I said, there are some great scenes in this episode. This is probably my top scene of the whole episode. We get like the date montage.
Okay. I want to know if people really dated like they do in like this Pillow Talk. Like, is this what people really did back in the day? Because
they got all dolled up.
If they freaking did, I want a date like this, okay? Future Tinder matches, this is what I want.
Yes. So, all right. So, Sultry Samantha gets all dolled up. She has like one of those cigarettes on like a long ass stick. And we get this like weird, you know, like they play like montage music and they just have these scenes that just like fade into each other and fade out.
They like go to different places and they've changed their outfits.
We get to see the names of some of the establishments that they frequent that night. I wrote them down. The first one was called the Jug Room, which sounds like I don't know, like a basement level strip club maybe.
Yeah, I was just thinking it sounds like someplace a stripper would work.
And then the next one was the Diamond Slipper, which was probably above the Jug Room, let's be real.
Yeah, like
you go up a flight of stairs and it's the Diamond Slipper.
Can we be real? That also kind of sounds like a strip club.
And we get these shots of like them sitting around like a fancy dinner table and they're all dressed up and it's great. And then the night ends with them going to the track. Because
that's totally where a date ends. Like the track. Come on. I want a date like this. I want to know what a date like this is. Oh my gosh.
And Sultry Samantha uses her magic to let Mr. Fraser's horse win. So I don't know, they get like a lot of they get a bunch of cash. And then we get like this we get this like fun scene and like it's the next day or whatever. And Bob Fraser, Mr. Fraser. He's like at the store again at the books. His second like day 2 of 10.
He's at the department store. This is the longest book signing in the world.
And he's like, you know what? I need to check up on Darrin again. So he calls up like Darrin and has to be like, hey Darrin, I met this like wonderful woman. We went out last night. I think I'm in love with her. And Darrin's like, oh, like, you need to come to my house and meet my wife, and like maybe bring your new girlfriend, and we can all get together and we can like have a small dinner party.
Basically, Darrin is just desperate for couple friends.
Darrin's like, my wife bought chops. we got chops. So he's like, yeah,
we can have those chops.
So he's like, yeah, for sure. Like, I'll definitely come over. And I think Sultry Samantha like comes back, and is that when Mrs. Kravitz sees them like kind of like hand in hand? Oh no. She bumps into them at like another fancy restaurant, right?
Yeah, they're at like some restaurant, and Mrs. Kravitz is out to dinner. Okay, can we be real? Mr. Kravitz taking her out to dinner seems so out of character. So I can only assume it's like their anniversary or something. All
right. This is my hot take. On Abner. Low key, I am Abner Kravitz. Like, I just don't want to be bothered with any fucking thing. So he's like, literally, anytime you see Mr. Kravitz, he's just like sitting on the couch reading the paper, just saying, Mrs. Kravitz, all right, if you say so. So she was probably just like, all right, it's our anniversary. It probably wasn't, but she said it. He believed it, and they went out to the Diamond Slipper.
Hi, Pete. I am Mrs. Kravitz, so now you know why our dynamic works.
Yes. So I can just picture, Mrs. Kravitz is just at home one day, and I don't know, like the neighborhood bridge club is all talking about the hot new establishment in town, the Diamond Slipper, and she's like, all right, I gotta check this out. But I know if I go home and say that I want to go to the Diamond Slipper, that Abner's going to be like, no. So she comes up with this like crazy scheme that like, oh, it's our anniversary, or it's like my birthday, it's like my half birthday, like it's something. So he's like, all right, we'll go, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what do they have? And she's like, oh, they have like good steaks. And he's like, all right, I like steak, so I guess we'll go. So they're there. Does Abner even talk in the scene, or is it just like Mrs. Kravitz yelling at him?
Probably not. Like, if he's there, he's quiet.
He's reading the menu. That's like what he does when he goes out to eat. He just reads the menu.
He's trying to find the steak on the menu, and it finds out it's only steak tartare or something ridiculous like that.
And you know what? Like, I feel like he doesn't want to talk. So even like after he orders the food, he's that person that like asks the waitress, "Oh, can I like keep the menu at the table just in case I want to like order something else to go or something? Like, I'll just keep this here." And he just like keeps his nose in it all night long.
Totally.
But Mrs. Kravitz eyeballs from across the room. She eyeballs Sultry Samantha and Mr. Fraser. They're like canoodling in the corner. They're like Lady and the Tramp style eating spaghetti.
Totally.
Like moving the noodle across the plate.
I mean, hey, when you're dating a witch, anything's possible.
Yeah, so she's like shell shocked, like what she sees. So she's already like something's up with Samantha as always. Like she's always like, that Samantha's up to something. I can't quite put my finger on it. I guess it's now the next day. It's like now day 3, and maybe Mr. Fraser, the author, I guess he gets the night off from his book signing because he's not at the book signing now. How does he? There's definitely like a confrontation between Samantha and Sultry Samantha. So
okay, so Samantha goes back to the store. He's back at that damn store because it is literally the longest running freaking book signing ever.
Oh, okay, all right. So, yeah, sorry, I like forget a lot. So
she's going to get the dress.
Yeah, it's like now she's like picking up the dress that her mom like sized out for her. So she's actually okay, and
sexed it up because of course.
Yeah. So does she have a run-in with the author, Mr. Fraser?
So she meets him and he like starts like kissing her ear and stuff. You know, the kind of thing you do if you're dating somebody and you run into them. You're like, oh, hey, sweetheart. You give her a kiss and yada, yada, yada. And she's like, excuse me, bitch, who the F are you?
Yeah, because they've had this, like, whirlwind, like, 3-day affair. Like, like, there was hand jobs galore going on.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely been hand stuff at this point, at least.
There's maybe even mouth. Who knows?
Maybe.
Samantha freaks out. Does Mrs. Kravitz see this? I can't remember. Like,
no, Mrs. Kravitz doesn't see this.
So it's just Samantha trying to figure out, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is this guy up all...
Yeah, Samantha doesn't know what's up, and then later she puts the pieces together.
Oh, yeah, because he kind of mentions, doesn't he mention something about the dress?
Yeah.
And she kind of, oh.
He mentions the dress and meeting in the store, and she's like, oh.
I know now.
She's like, I'm married, dude.
Yes. Okay, yeah, so then she
Because she still doesn't totally know what's up.
Yeah, so she go...
Until she talks to her mom.
Yeah, so she goes home, she talks to her mom, and she's like, I guess, like, Samantha's like, Mom, you just need to ghost the author. You need to just ghost him, and things will be patched up. But there is a slight problem, though.
Yeah.
It just happens because Samantha doesn't realize this yet. Neither of them do, that Darrin and Bob Fraser are friends, and he's coming over that night. So, like, now...
Dun, dun, dun!
So, all right. This is, like, kind of what I also had a problem with the show. So they can use, like, magic to get them into these situations, but they can never use, like, magic to get them out of the situations. Like, they have for now...
I feel like there was totally a way to get out of this before, and they just didn't think about it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, can't they make Bob Fraser, the author, forget? Or can they just send him to Mars with Don Draper?
Like, they could. Or they can make him think that her name is actually Amanda, not Samantha, and she's a twin.
Or could they, like, do another mind spell on Mr. Fraser and just make it, like, he just sees Endora as Samantha?
Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently not.
I just feel like there's a lot of things they can go here. But, like, it's weird, though. Like, the show always uses magic to get them in these predicaments, but then they have to, like, rely on real-world skills to get out of it.
Exactly. It's so weird. But I guess that's kind of part of the charm.
I guess so. I guess it's like, hold on, let's write these people into a corner and then see how they can, like, wiggle their way out of it.
Yeah, without using magic for as long as possible.
Without wiggling the nose.
Yeah.
I think you should take us into the to the final stretch, the final act, and how they got out of this.
Okay, so Endora makes herself look like Samantha again and goes to meet Bob for lunch. And she's like, I'm married. I love my husband. And he doesn't totally believe it.
Yes, well...
And he's like, he decides, she's like, well, my husband is Darrin Stevens. And he's like, oh, shit. So he still shows up to their house for dinner. Like, dude, that's some balls. That is some freaking balls to show up at this house after you've been, like, you think you've been dating the dude's wife for 3 days.
Yeah, and, like, sultry Samantha is kind of like, all right, you can't say this to, like, you can come tonight. Yes, that's fine. We'll just pretend we don't know each other, but you cannot mention anything to Darrin. And literally the first thing he does is he spills the beans, and he calls Darrin into the kitchen.
Yeah, he's like, I'm in love with your wife, and Samantha's like, bitch, who are you?
So Darrin kind of, like, approaches Samantha. Samantha's like, all right, I can explain it to you. Come in the kitchen. And she literally is just like, all right, it's my mom. She became my temporary double. And now they've been having this, like, whirlwind affair for the last 4 days. Like, what the fuck are we going to do? Now this guy's in our living room. So, I don't know, like, how can we explain this? And Endora basically is just like, all right, I know what to do. She just turns into sultry Samantha again. And is just like, oh, all this time we've been twins. And he's like, okay, all right, that makes sense. And...
like, okay, why did they think about, like, 20
I guess...
Like, and why did Endora, like, tell him her name was Samantha?
Like, yeah, like, maybe my parents were weird, and they just gave us the same name, just because they didn't want to have to name 2 kids, I guess, I don't know.
Like, Samantha and Samantha, like, come on.
It could have been like, oh, so, like, I'm Samantha, and I'm Sam. Like, yeah, for some reason, our parents are weird and they give us the same first name. It's like those parents that, like, name their kid, like, Robert Roberts.
People, what are you thinking when you do that?
So it's very, like, you would expect that this would not have gone over well, but it
like, he totally is like, okay, cool. And Darren's like, really?
Yeah. Like, I really, like, honestly, like, the bigger problem at hand is that Mrs. Kravitz actually saw the author show up at the house, and she knew that's...
yeah, and she's, like, freaking out. She's at the window going, Abda!
Yeah, because she knew that Samantha and the author were having, like, an affair. It's like, so, like, now that's like, the real scandal of the neighborhood, but it's like, they just didn't even bother with her. They're just like, we'll just, like, let it slide. Everyone knows she's crazy. Who will believe her? I guess that's the impression that I got.
Bob, the author, and Endora, Samantha, sultry Samantha leave. And Mrs. Kravitz is like, the gall, I'm going over there right now to tell Mr. Stevens. Like, okay, first of all, if Mr. Stevens is home, don't you think he noticed his wife leaving with another man?
Right. And, like, what do you think Mrs. Kravitz stand-in is with like the rest of the neighborhood? Like, do you think they all share the same opinion? Like, she's just a fucking crazy bitch.
I feel like they're like, ugh, not Gladys. I really don't feel like dealing with Gladys Kravitz.
Yeah, like they have.
But they slap a smile on their face and deal with her.
Yeah, I feel like there's like there's probably like a neighborhood book club, and like they just keep it a secret from her. They have to like they do this like James Bond style maneuvers to get to like the book club meeting place. They have to like shake their tails and stuff. So like,
yeah, they're all like, they've all got their copies of like Peyton Place or whatever. Actually, let's look it up. Let me grab my thing and find out what the big books were that year.
1965. All right.
Yeah, let's see. Year this episode aired. Arthur Haley's Multi-Storied Hotel. Ralph Nader's Unsafe at Any Speed. Those were the big books of 1965.
What was the first one again?
Arthur Haley's Sprawling Multi-Storied Hotel was the big book of the year.
All right, I think that's the one.
According to what was hot.
That was probably the book club meeting discussion that week. And it's like Samantha has to go to it, so she has to wear like a long trench coat with like that very long brimmed hat that like covers the face.
You know what? No, Samantha's not into that. Samantha doesn't realize everybody else is hiding from Mrs. Kravitz.
You think she's naive?
Because if you think about it, Samantha never hides from Mrs. Kravitz. She just goes about her stuff.
Oh, so like you think she just like sees Mrs. Kravitz as like an equal? Like she doesn't see the craziness side of her?
She's like, oh, hi, Gladys! Hi! She doesn't realize that the rest of the neighborhood hates Mrs. Kravitz.
That's an interesting theory. Well,
Yeah.
Well, like maybe because Samantha is a witch, that she just and she knows that Mrs. Kravitz is immortal and will be dead soon, so she just doesn't care.
Yeah, probably.
She's like, whatever. Like this bitch is already like old as fuck. She won't be around long. She's not long for this earth.
Yeah.
But but the other neighbors, like when they have to go to like the meeting place, they have to like wear the long trench coat and they have to like sneak through the neighborhood. And they have to look behind their shoulders, make sure that Mrs. Kravitz is not in the bushes.
Listen, they all have doctor's appointments that day, that time. It just happens to work that way, Mrs. Kravitz.
Yeah, they take the weird route to the meeting place where they keep taking all these weird turns to shake her off just in case she is following.
Listen, no, I gotta go to New York to meet my husband for lunch, okay? It's on one day a week where we get to go to the deli.
Yeah, it's happy hour at the Jug Room.
It's the one day a week that he'll let me come into the city.
Legs and eggs.
Listen, he works at Sterling Cooper. Who knows what's going on there?
All right, who do you think? Do you think like Pete Campbell lives in this neighborhood? Maybe like Pete and Trudy.
This is totally their neighborhood.
This is definitely Pete and Trudy's neighborhood. And like the Rory Gilmore girl lives there too from that season of Mad Men.
Yeah,
they're all in it together.
But Mrs. Kravitz is so busy, like, freaking out about what's going on at the Stevens house, she doesn't realize, like, all the really juicy stuff is happening around her.
Yeah, she doesn't realize that Pete Campbell has not been in Trudy's house for the last 6 months. Like, that he's been thrown out. Like, he's like, why is Pete not there? Because she's too busy looking into Samantha's life. There's something about Samantha.
Exactly.
But you know what? Let's be real. She has every right to suspect there's something about Samantha because there is something about Samantha.
There is, yeah.
But you know, it's like even if like she did like when she does see something, she can't explain it, and they probably just think that she's off her meds. She's off her rocker, to quote the famous Betty White show that I aforementioned.
Yeah, she hasn't had her lithium.
Do you have any more hot takes on this ep of Bewitched, or just Bewitched in general?
I love this show. It's so much fun to just sit and watch. And it's like something I can sit and have on with the nephew around.
Yeah, it's very age appropriate.
And I can't say that about a lot of TV shows. Nothing
too scandalous happens. Just maybe a possible intermarriage affair, but it's only implied, and it's not really because it's a double.
Exactly, like. Seriously, and I'll tell you something. So many of Darrin's, like, random-ass friends end up dating, like, Samantha's cousin Serena.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Wild times in this world.
I was reading that one of the main themes of the show was the conflict between a powerful woman and a husband who cannot deal with that power. That is so true. Darrin cannot handle any of this.
So this is like an allegory of like the real world equivalent would be Darrin was like married to Joan from Mad Men, or like Peggy Olson. That's like the
like he can't handle that she's actually like smart and shit and has power.
She has power. She works with Sterling Cooper. She sells ads to men. So yeah,
She makes you buy stuff.
yeah. So I guess they didn't want to put that in the world, so they just make it all right. Instead of having Samantha be a like Peggy Olson, let's just make her a witch.
Yeah.
So yeah, ooh, I like that. I like that. I like that allegory there.
Yeah. And then there was the anger of the bride's mother seeing her daughter marry beneath her. Which, like, you know what? The older I get, the more I get. Endora's right. Darrin's trash.
Darrin is trash. If we learned anything from this show, it's that Darrin is trash, and he's such a wet noodle that they had to replace him. Literally had to replace him with a new actor.
Like, oh, there's just so much wrong with Darrin.
Well, actually, I just think the actor Dick York had back problems. I think.
Yeah, he had back problems from an injury he sustained probably about 10 years before, and it just got worse and worse, and he got addicted to pills and shit.
Yeah, I think I read that in his last season on the show, it was just mostly him sitting down.
Yeah.
He very very rarely stood up because it was painful for him to sit down, and they had to bring in special furniture just for him to sit on. So they had the prop closet didn't have a fun prop couch. They actually had to get probably a Posturepedic cushion.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. He basically gave up acting at that point.
Yes, and then he was replaced with Dick Sargent for the last batch apps. And I guess ratings dramatically declined for that too.
I mean, honestly, when I was a kid watching it, I didn't really notice the difference that much.
Yeah, I never really noticed it either. I just was oh, Darrin just looks older.
I didn't notice it until I was older. I was oh, there's two different dudes. At first I thought he just lost weight. Yeah, it was just it ended up being in a running joke on other sitcoms. Alf would bring it up, and I'm oh yeah, there is two. Yeah, okay. Roseanne brought it up.
Yeah, so it's you just
they did the two Bucky's thing.
Yeah, I only knew it from other sitcoms making cheeky references to it, and then I'm oh yeah,
or it's when they started airing the episodes on Nick at Night, and they would talk about it.
Oh yeah, they would do the commercials that would advertise for the show would bring it up, and or sometimes they would do the Battle of the Darrins night or something, and they'd have the two different eras back to back. And you would have to call up a hotline and vote which was the better Darrin or something.
Did you know that there was a spin-off of Bewitched in the 70s starring Lisa Hartman as a grown-up Tabitha?
It was supposed to be a very dramatic take on the Bewitched universe, but I guess it didn't pan out too well and was very quickly canceled.
I would totally be down for a Bewitched update reboot type thing.
All right, well, I forgot about this till literally right now. So,
oh god,
they did do the Nicole Kidman Will Ferrell movie in 2005-ish.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna admit this. I actually really like that movie.
I never saw it, so I don't know. It's
oh my god.
It's basically, isn't it? It's not really Bewitched. It's just kind of it's modern times, and they do a remake of Bewitched, and the woman who plays Samantha in the series just is Nicole Kidman, and she just happens to be a witch in real life. Isn't that the show?
Happens to actually be a witch. Isabel turns out to actually be a witch. It's actually kind of awesome. I don't know. It's totally a movie. I would never buy it on DVD, but when TBS airs it on a Saturday afternoon, and it's snowing out or raining out, and you're I got nothing else to do. Let's watch this. It's a fun little escape.
All right. So, hot story. I never seen it. I never really had any interest in seeing it, but hot story though. About 2 to 3 weeks ago, I noticed that the Brady Bunch movies, the Brady Bunch movie and a Very Brady sequel, are on Amazon. They came out when we were middle schoolish, early high school. Yeah, we were in middle school because I remember talking about it in art class. So I watched the first Brady Bunch movie about 2-3 weeks ago. It does not age well. Oh god. And I don't think it was supposed to. All right, so the whole strange thing about the show or the movie is that the Brady Bunch are characters from the 70s that act like they're from the 70s, but it's the 90s. Mm-hmm. And when you watch this in 2018, the 60s and 90s comparison and contrast is just so awkward to watch. It's really hard. It's so awkward to watch with 2018 eyes, because even at the time it was contemporary, and now that you look at it, you just it's not contemporary any longer. So it just does. It's strange. It's just did they make this movie to watch 20 years from now where you would just laugh at the 90s stuff. Like, the 70s stuff made sense, but the 90s stuff is just way too heavy-handed. So it's watch it today and just like you'll cringe.
Oh, I bet. I can only imagine.
So what are we doing next week? Do you know? Do you have the list?
I don't have my list. My list is somewhere. I don't know.
So next week, speaking of classics being remade, we're doing a show that was actually just rebooted this past season, and the CW did it. I watched the first few eps of the new version. I kind of liked it, but I fell out of it. But now it's on Netflix, so you can watch it all at once.
Yeah, same.
But it is a classic. It's a classic soap opera. We've talked about it thousands of times on this podcast. We always talk about the stars of it. It's come up in What's Been On This Night. Do you want to take a stab at the name? Do you think that you know the name?
Dynasty.
Yes. So we are going to watch.
And it's the original?
Yes, the OG.
We're watching the original that takes place in Colorado, which is better than this weird Atlanta crap.
Yes. So we are going to watch the second season, first episode, which is the debut of Joan Collins. And, all right, so last year, if you followed my Twitter, I did a hot Dynasty Season 1 rewatch. And Dynasty Season 1... not my cup of tea. Just gonna throw this out there. It's not an entertaining show. It's very slow moving. It drags. It's very reminiscent.
That is very much the early 80s drama, though.
Yes, very reminiscent of like the first season of Melrose Place, where things were just the show was not the show that we know and love. It's just a weird test run of it, and you kind of start to get elements where the show might be great, but then that is quickly thrown under the rug. But I'm guessing it did well enough for them to want to keep it going, so they took all those like great elements and then it morphed into the show that we're going to talk about next week. So
I'm so excited.
Yes, so
I just can't hide. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I'll cut that part out.
Yeah, you're just going to cut this out. You're going to say you're going to cut it out, and then you're not going to cut it out, and all this embarrassing stuff is going to still be.
That's how I roll. And you know what? Podcast secret. Sometimes I just leave it in because it's like you yelling at me, and I just want those parts to be left in. So I sound like... I usually cut out to the part where is the preamble to you yelling at me, which causes you to yell at me, but I just leave it in just so it just sounds like you're angry at me for no reason.
Great. No wonder people think I'm such a bitch.
Podcast secret. All right.
God damn it, Patrick.
Where can you follow our wacky adventures?
You can follow our wacky adventures at averyspecialpodcast.com, at verypodcast on Twitter. Facebook and Instagram is A Very Special Podcast. And do not accept imitations because that's exactly what they are. Imitations. And boys, I still have that dossier, so don't mess with me.
Ooh. Dossier, using big words. Yeah, so follow our stuff. And as always, watch the skies for witches on brooms.